What is up, everyone? What is up? Welcome to another episode of 2 a.m. in Sweden. I'm one of the hosts of the show, Hayes at AO Shifty. And we just got to dive into a lot of different things that have been going on in terms of the NFL, the NBA, everything and then some. Let me just make sure all of this is good to go for you guys. Yeah, we're good. So I wanted to bring up a couple of different topics. I know Steven and I will be on the show tomorrow. I just had to dive in to get my thoughts out here and then talk about some things that have happened in the past, and we'll go from there. So, first thing we're going to bring up is the Super Bowl. We'll also go into the halftime show that happened, and then we'll go into Fight Night Baby, because that was some shit that coming off of what Zaire Franklin and Jeff Teague had been talking about in the NBA, and that happened. Two different ones, some other shit that happened. But going into the game itself, a lot of people have asked me, what are my thoughts on the game? Um, did I like it? Did I not like it? Did I watch it? Did I review the highlights? All that and then some. From a defensive perspective and a football fan perspective, it was great. That's what you want to end up seeing. The first half was straight chess match. Everyone trying to figure out what the other team is necessarily doing. And you got to see it from it was it's 3-0, 6-0, 9-0, 12-0. It was just straight field goals. Jason Myers at that point in time, I don't think they would have given it to him, but he was the MVP of the game. Every single kick that he had to end up making, he ended up making. Jason Myers was 5 for 5. So that's 15 points right there. Then two extra points. So he had 17 points. The team 29 points. So congrats to him for converting all of those. Would it have made a difference? I think it could have shifted the momentum if he started missing some of those field goals because it would have messed up field position. But overall, Sam Darnold did what he needed to do. He had no turnovers in the postseason, no turnovers. And in the Super Bowl, he was 19 to 38. So then he had 202 passing yards. He had the one touchdown. AJ Barner. That was all that was really needed in that game on that side. Drake May had 27 to 43, but a lot of this came, you can call it garbage time or in the third and fourth quarter. He wasn't doing this in the first half. Seahawks were getting to him every single time possible. He had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One of them was the pick six that they end up having. The other one basically like sealed a lot of the game at that point. The two people that end up having the interceptions as well, you had Julian Love had one and Nuosa had the other one. Who's this? Oh, um, Steven was texting. But you had both of those. One was the pick six, and that was could have you could have called it anyway. That's could have everything. All happened in the game. You had those two that were key. Punts weren't really a thing that was something to come by. They ended up having a punt. They punted 7 times. The Patriots ended up punting 8 times. So it was back and forth. A lot of that was the first half, too. In terms of punt returns, Rashid Shaheed only was able to return 2. Most of them were toward the sidelines. He only had 1 kick return because the other one then was an onside kick as well. Even looking at it from the New England Patriots side of the field, they did have 5 kick returns. Then they was able to return 2 negligent yards, nothing really of substance on that side of the house. In terms of the sacks, just breaking down everything that happened on that, there were 6 sacks for the Seahawks, 1 for the Patriots. That's one portion of where your game was. Pass deflections, there were 6 for the Seahawks, and there were 7 for the Patriots. Again, a lot of this happened in the first half. The matchup I wanted to see was Christian Gonzalez and Jack Smith and Jigba. Great matchup right there. Something else that could have been a turning point for the game was in the first half. JSN had the perfect route that he ended up running, broke out from essentially the coverage that happened. It was just thrown too far. It was like overthrown by Sam Darnold, and that would have been Sam Darnold could have won MVP just off of that alone. If he would have connected with him on that long touchdown, you never know how the game would have shaken up at that point. Again, first half was straight chess match. That happened. overthrew him, messed up that part of the game. JSN got injured, so then the focal point did shift. It became more of Cooper Cup and then AJ Barner on the receiving side of the house. And it wasn't even that much. Cooper Cup, although I did tell a lot of people he could be an X factor, he had 6 receptions for 61 yards, got his second Super Bowl ring. Congrats on that. AJ Barner had 4 receptions, 54 yards. So again, nobody was doing a lot. They really focused on the run game. So Kenneth Walker had 27 rushing attempts. He had 135 rushing yards. He did have 2 receptions for 26 yards. He was healthy because Zach Charbonnet and him split a lot of carries throughout the season. So when you got to the playoffs, Zach Charbonnet got injured. It became K9 as a workhorse, and he was able to take that on. Congrats. Now, my other thing is that I brought up come next year, are they both going to be playing like the split share that they did again? If it worked this year, I'm doing it again next year because you kept them both healthy. Once Zach Charbonnet, of course, comes back, but they have a good 1-2 punch. It's been that way for a minute, and they've just kept it going. On the other side of the house, rushing was something that they couldn't even come by. Drake May was the leading rusher for the Patriots. I had 5 carries, 37 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 7 carries, 23 yards. Travion Henderson, 6 carries, 19 yards. Wasn't really that much on that side. Mac Hollins, he did most of his work, but again, a lot of that touchdown came at the end, third, fourth quarter. Wasn't even something that happened. Both of those touchdowns came later on. It was Mac Hollins, and then it was Ramondre Stevenson with their touchdowns. And again, I've told everyone this, that Ramondre Stevenson touchdown was the most skill/luck thing that could have happened. Grazed, legit like this, just barely missed the grass. He got it, scored the touchdown, and that was the second one. They tried to do 2-point conversion, did not end up working. But even if you look at the fourth quarter alone, the points are 17-13. So there's no point in time have been shut at halftime. The game was 9-0, and then it was 12-0 at the end of the third quarter. At that point, you knew it was going to be the Patriots didn't really have a chance. These are just initial thoughts that I have. Just going more into it because I do want to talk about the halftime show and then go into fight night really quick. Halftime show. So I personally enjoyed it. I know it's mixed reviews and mixed signals, but I could be biased because I am a Bad Bunny fan. He played songs like Titi Me Pregunto, Voy a Llevarte. Then he also played Baile Inolvidable. That's a good one. Nueva York is another good one. Café con Ron is a really good one as well. And then he's played Debe Tiras Más Fotos. So he played a good amount, a mixture from the new album, some of the ones that we did like. He had like 12 songs that he ended up playing. The props were good. People being the trees was a good portion that he added. He had the light post and the electric post essentially back from back home Puerto Rico. When it ends up, the power goes out. He had a wedding or a marriage that was conceived there. That's another great thing that they end up doing. He had the house. If anyone's seen his Puerto Rican shows that he's put on recently, he had the house. He had the bodega. He had everything that you needed. It was a great show. And then at the end, he brought all the countries together. So I thought it was a really good show. I commend him for putting it on, going through with it. His messages were good, telling everyone that essentially if you would have given up on yourself, he wouldn't have made it to this point. He's gone from being a bagger at a grocery store and working at a grocery store to being at the Super Bowl. And he's already one of the biggest artists, if not the biggest artist of 2025 going into 2026. So I know his streams are going to be good. And I know a lot of people are complaining saying, oh, we didn't really get to see the whole Super Bowl halftime show when we were there. Look at The Weeknd when he did his. He was inside, so you're looking at the jumbo screen. That's what the jumbo screens are for. They tried to have the cameras. There are some people that are all the way up in the nosebleeds talking to God. They couldn't see it either. But yes, if you're at home, you were able to see it, and that's partially what it is for too. The people at home, you all got to get the experience of everything that happened at the Super Bowl. I get that you paid a lot of money for it. Congrats, but you also got an experience that the people at home didn't get. And you're putting on for those people there. Maybe half the people in the stadium could give two shits about Bad Bunny. And they're not going to download the music, but I promise you that 130 million plus a good amount of them, if they download it, that's where the money's coming from. And that's the audience that they want to continue to bring on. The people in Germany aren't always going to be able to come to the Super Bowl. The people in Sweden or different countries are not going to be able to come to the Super Bowl. So if you can continue to market to them too and give them a reason to stay up in those late hours or those early hours, that's a win for the halftime show. They've done really well of recent years with the different ones that they've continued to bring in. So I appreciate that. Um, the outro was good with DTMF, as I mentioned before, even having various different parts of giving himself, quote unquote, the Grammy. That was a good touch that they end up having on that. So overall, I can't say anything bad about the halftime show. Personally, thought it was one of my favorites, and I've seen a good amount of them. Whether it was Beyonce did hers, Weeknd did his, Kendrick clearly did his, Usher had one, Janet, Justin Timberlake. There's various different ones you could bring up. I thought this was one of the better ones, but again, it could be biased because I already liked his music in general. So I was looking forward to it going in, but the message was good too. So tomorrow we'll dive more into more thoughts that I end up having from it, but we got to get into what happened last night now. And this one started with uh, Musa Diabate. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm wrong, I apologize. And Jalen Derlin. That's really where it started. And then other people got involved, like Miles Bridges got involved in it, and Isaiah Stewart was the other one. First off, Isaiah Stewart came out of nowhere, wasn't even in the game. He was out pulling up from a gang, basically, went out there, found Miles Bridges, tried to take a swing at Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges went low, but it started essentially because Duran mushed the Charlotte player and like hand palm on the face, and he was like, I'm not taking that. And they ended up trying to swing and stuff. Duran, I don't know if they were saying he had in his mind that I'm not losing this contract if I get suspended and stuff like that, or if it was just he wasn't trying to squat up with him. But either way, he didn't do anything on that side. Granted, he did a little start, but that was really it. The other part, just looking into it, was the Miles Bridges side. Miles Bridges did go after Derwin a little bit, and then you had Isaiah Stewart coming from the left side. Again, every single angle, if you look at this, and Steve and I will talk about this tomorrow, every single angle that you look at this, my guy legit was coming. Hell, high water was going to pull up and be inside of that fight. So that's the first thing on that fight. The other one, and just again, when it comes to the fight, look at every single angle that they have from this fight. I don't know where it's coming from. They got angles here, 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 everything. They're making sure you guys can see it from every single way. Stewart might be done for the season. I don't really. You're suspending him at least 20 games. You got to make some sort of statement with it, because my guy shouldn't have even been involved. He wasn't even 15 games. Duran might get the least amount of game suspension. Uh, Musa's going to get a good amount because my guy was just crashed out at that point. So he's going to get some. And then looking at the other fight that happened, I don't really, comparing the two, the Timberwolves and Hawks one was not really a fight. It was more of just shirt grabbing, everything like that. But that was Naz Reid and Mo Gay. Between those two, it started off in the middle. And again, I don't know what was in the water last night, but they just started saying, we're just not taking shit today. So that's going to be suspensions as well. At least 5 games, Naz Reid. 5 games. Okay, it really depends because the Timberwolves and the Atlanta Hawks are both in playoff contention. We're both going close to the All-Star break. Do you do 10? Do you do 15? It's going to be something there. Where the most of the suspension is going to come from is that Charlotte Hornets and Detroit Pistons game. And then they're like, oh, this is going to set up for the playoffs. If those two play in the playoffs, they're trying to bring back some of this bad blood, which is good for them. They can do that. I'm looking forward to see what ends up happening in terms of the playoffs. But I really just wanted to get my initial thoughts on everything that happened the past couple of days, whether it was the NBA game, those 2 fights, Bad Bunny halftime show, again, spectacular. And then going into the Super Bowl, Kenneth Walker, he's only the fifth offensive player to have won a Super Bowl MVP despite scoring a touchdown. No touchdown. The other four, uh, you had your boy Joe Namath, you had Julian Edelman, you had Deion Branch, and then you had Fred Biletnikoff. And now you got Kenneth Walker. So good for them. Happy for him for that. Again, people are saying it should have been Jason Myers, not Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold didn't deserve it. He didn't do enough to warrant it. But Jason Myers could have been in the running. I don't think they would have given it to a kicker. That's really not what this game was going to be for. So other than that, I appreciate you all for tuning in, listening. Stay tuned. I do have two other things that I do want to have coming out. The first one is going to be the credit card series. I probably will put that out tomorrow, maybe. I have two different ones I'm going to do with that. And then Steve and I have our big show that we'll be doing. And so that's the final on that side. Usually we always close the show with the what you got. So for this one, it is a thank you to everyone. I can admit I haven't done as much as I should have been doing with the podcast. This podcast and shows should be a lot bigger than what it is. And I'll put the onus on me. There was the point in time where I was doing shows every single Monday on Spaces. Then we would have our regular show, and I would just have other small shows. I would have Rolling with Hayes and various different things, and it fell off. And this is something that you all deserve it. I deserve it to myself. Me and Steven deserve it for the work we've put in. It's been roughly like 5 years we've been doing this. Not saying we're doing it for monetary reasons, but it's been fun having us two on the show, and we know the potential that this show can be. And I want to continue to grow it. I want it to continue to get bigger. I have the vision that we can at least double our audience this year alone. And then going into 2027, we'll continue to do it that way. I want to take the show on the road. And there's a lot of different things that I've said I wanted to do that I just haven't done with this show. And it's finally time for us to do it. So stay along for the journey. We'll start to do giveaways. I'm hoping we can start to get sponsorships. We'll get a lot going with this show. I've always had it up here. It's just now putting it out there for you all. And if there's any suggestions that you guys have for the off season for us, let us know. If there's any topics you want us to bring up, just tell us. We're happy with that. If there's certain places you want us to travel to or certain stadiums and arenas you want us to go to, just tell us. We want to go into certain sports bars and stuff, start recording and doing things from there. And we'll just continue with the show that way. So I appreciate you all as always for tuning in, listening. We're back on the grind. I know there's been different things that I have not focused on with this, or I've had to like say I can't continue to do this or that, but we're good to go. We're locked in now. Yeah, so I appreciate you all for it, and the new people that come along for the journey. Thank you, the old people that have been listening and tuning in. Let's keep going. Till next time, it's Hayes. We out.